Hi friends, my name is J. Varshika from First BiPC Jangamit, Hyderabad. Instead of going in my topic, first you have to know what is meant by botany. In Greek language, boys refers to cattle and boyskin refers to cattle feed. Botan gave rise to botan and botan gave rise to botany. The knowing of plants is botany. The father of botany is TTWREIS. Yes, when we look around us, we can see that non-living organisms and living organisms. When we are seeing the living organisms, we get a question. What is that makes an organism to living? Yes, that is the cell. Cell is the basic unit of life. We can know that cell is the function and structure unit of life. Just we have to know what is the cell history. In 1838, the Matthias Lieder, he was a German botanist. He told that a number of plants consists of cells. The cells they can form the tissues and tissues form the plants. In 1839, at the same time, Theodor Schwann, he was German zoologist. He explained that and studied that about different kinds of animal cells. He described that a layer is formed out of the cell, that is a plasma membrane. And the Rudolf Virchow, he explained that the cells comes from only in the pre-existing cells. Schwann and Schleiden are the two majors which the cell theory is formed. The theory did not explain that the cells where come from. The Rudolf Virchow in 1855, he explains that the cells are compound and products of life. They comes and arises from pre-existing cell. Lastly, the cell theory is known as 2 points. First one is all living organisms are composed of product of cells. Second point, all cells arises from pre-existing cells. Okay. Now we will go to the topic of cellular organelles. There are two types of cells. One is prokaryotic cells, one is eukaryotic cells. When we talk about prokaryotic cells, we get a thing, that is the prokaryotic cells cannot contains about nucleus. Yes, it's right. The prokaryotic cells lack a nucleus and it is a membrane structures of eukaryotes. In prokaryotic cells, there are no membrane bound organelles which are present in the eukaryotic cells. But the ribosomes are contained in prokaryotic cells. The cytoplasm also present. In cytoplasm, the organelles are also present. Prokaryotic cells contain DNA in one circular chromosome. The prokaryotics are smaller and less complex than eukaryotes. The cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan in prokaryotes. The example of prokaryote cells are bacteria and blue-green bacteria. Then eukaryote cells. When we talk about eukaryote cells, we get an idea. Yes, eukaryote cells contains nucleus. It's right answer. Eukaryote cells contains nucleus. They have membrane bound organelles like Endoplasmic Reticulum, Mitochondria, Vacuole, Ribosomes, Lysosomes, plastid in plants. It contains cytoplasm is present and it contains DNA in one linear chromosomes. Eukaryotic cells are larger and more complex. They contain cilia or flagella for movement. The examples of proto-eukaryotic cells, plants, animals, algae, fungi and protista. The cell wall is made up of cellulose except in plants in eukaryotic cells. Now we will go to the topic of cellular organelles. The first cellular organelle is a plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is the outer layer of the cell. It composed of three distinct layers. Two layers are made up of fat and one layer is made up of protein. Example, we take an egg. When we remove the outer layer, we can see the small thin layer, that is a plasma membrane. That is the outer layer and it protects the cell. Next, we will go to next cellular organelle. What is the cellular organelles is nucleus. We can call it as nucleus as brain of cell. Why we can call it as brain of cell of the nucleus? Yes, nucleus stores all memories to and produce the cell. Nucleus can call it as border membrane by a porous membrane. We can call it as nuclear envelope. Nucleus contains thin layer of DNA and protein, and we can call it as chromatin. In nucleus, rod-shaped nuclei is present. In nucleus, rod-shaped chromosomes are present. In nucleus, a round-shaped nucleolus is present. Example, we are here seeing the cell. Okay, this is the cell, and this layer we can call it as plasma membrane. Here you are seeing that pink and violet color in nucleus. The violet color is the nucleus. The pink color is the nucleolus. It is round-like structure, that is nucleolus, which is present in the nucleus. Yes. And the best example of the nucleus is principal of the school, where the principal handles the total school. The nucleus also handles the total cell. The nucleus contains small round nucleolus. When we get an idea of nucleus, first we have to remember that it contains its DNA and protein. We can call it as chromatin. The layer of the nucleus we can call it as nuclear envelope, and it contains the small round nucleolus. We can call it as brain of the cell. Yes, you can remember easily of the nucleus. Next, we can go to next cellular organelle, endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is present either side of the nucleus. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. First, smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum are ribosomes free and functions in poison detoxification. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, they contains ribosomes and releases new mainly protein to the cell. We can call it as endoplasmic reticulum as the complex network of transport channels. Yes, here you are seeing the cell and this is the nucleus. Here the other sides of nucleus is endoplasmic reticulum. This is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. They are not contain ribosomes. This is a rough endoplasmic reticulum. These contains ribosomes. Okay. Now we will go to the next cellular organelle, Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is a sac-like structure. Golgi apparatus, a series flattened sacs that modifies, packages, stores and transport the materials out of the cell. Golgi apparatus works with the ribosomes and endoplasmic reticulum. In one word, we can remember means Golgi complex friends are ribosomes and endoplasmic reticulum. Golgi apparatus was described by Camillo Golgi. That's why he named that Golgi apparatus. Here you can see that reticular structure in the cytoplasm. It is the Golgi apparatus. It described by Camillo Golgi and it is in sac-like structure. It stores the food materials and produces to the cells, and it works with endoplasmic reticulum and ribosomes. Now we can talk about next cellular organelle, that is mitochondria. Mitochondria, we can call it as powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria is double membranous. The double membranous, first membranous cristae and second membrane is matrix. Cristae is the inner folding membrane and matrix is fluid filled structure. matrix is present in cristae. The mitochondria is the size of the bacterium. It contains its own DNA and mDNA. It produces high energy in compounds of ATP. That's why we can call it as powerhouse of this cell. Next, we will go to the next cellular organelle, the vacuole. When we see the vacuole, we can see that in plant cell, that is in cytoplasm, is empty space, the big ground organelle. The vacuole sacs that help in food digestion or helping the cell maintain its water balance. This vacuole found in mostly protists and plants. The best example of vacuole is the refrigerator. Why we can take that refrigerator means we can store materials in refrigerator like food, water and other things. That's why we can call it as vacuole as refrigerator. It is present, we can see that the vacuole only in plant cell. The next cellular organelle is the chloroplast. Chloroplast is a double membrane, inner membrane and outer membrane. Inner membrane, it contains center sections grana. Here you can see that number of coins. Okay. Here you can see that number of coins. That's one coin is refers to thylakoid and the number of thylakoid is refers to the grana. The surroundings of the grana is jelly-like structure. We can call it as chromatin. The chloroplast we can use in the photosynthesis. The sun energy it takes and the chemical energy produces. It presents in plants and algae. The next cellular organelles is lysosomes. Lysosome we can call it as recycling center to the cell. What it will be recycled? It recycles the cellular debris. The membrane-bound organelle containing a variety of enzymes. Its internal pH is 5.0. The lysosomes help digest food particles inside or outside of the cell. We can call it as lysosomes as suicidal bags. Why we can call it as suicidal bags to the lysosomes? Yes, the lysosome stores the food materials and when there is increases of food materials, it blasts into the cell, it extreats the cell food materials into the cell. Now we will go to the next cellular organelle, ribosomes. It is the small non-membrane bound organelles. The ribosomes contains two subunits. One is larger subunit, smaller subunit. The larger subunit is 50S and smaller subunit is 30S. Totally we can call it as 70S subunit of ribosomes. We can call it as ribosomes as protein synthesis of the cell. And we can get an important idea, that is protein factory of the cell is equals to ribosome. Why we can call it as protein factory of the cell? Because it synthesis of protein and produce to the cell. These ribosomes either free floating or attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Here you can observe in the cell, here the endoplasmic reticulum, here the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Here rough endoplasmic reticulum contains ribosomes. Here smooth endoplasmic reticulum do not contains ribosomes. That's why the ribosomes are either connected to endoplasmic reticulum or they are free floating. Next we will go to next cellular organelle, cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is a framework of the cell. It contains microfilaments and microtubules. Micro means small particles. Microtubules. They support the cell, giving its structure or shape with the movement of its organelles. For example, we will take a track. When we are taking a track, the cell organelles moves on the track, means the cytoskeleton. That's why the cytoskeleton helps in the shape of its and the movement of organelles. The cytoskeleton, we can call it as framework of the cell. Next, cellular organelle centrale. Centrale is found only in animal cells. They are paired organelles found together near the nucleus at right angle shaped. The centrales is the function is rolling in building the cilia and the building the flagella. Play a role in cellular reproduction. Here we can see this. It is the centroids. The paired centroid which is present near the nucleus, it is in right angle shaped. The paired organelles which is present in the nucleus. We can call it as these are the cellular centroids. The next cellular organelles is cilia and flagella. Cilia are horny-like structures which is present upon the surface of the eukaryotes. Which cells contains cilia? We can call as ciliates. Which the important role of cilia is movement. The cilia we can call as feeding and movement. Next, flagella. Flagella is a tail-like structure which we can see to the cell. Flagella is a lash-like appendage that protrudes from the cell body. Means the flagella will arises from the cell body. What is the function of flagella? Means it helps in locomotion. Means the cell which is moves from one place to another place. Then we will recall that what we have considered and what we have known about the cell. And the first cell theory was proposed by whom? Schwann and Schleiden. Rudolf Virchow told about cell theory did not explain by how cells are formed. He told that cells are arises from pre-existing cells. There are 2 points of cell theory. That is, first point is all organisms are contained of cells and contains of cells. Second point is the cells are arising from pre-existing cells. The robot took who see that the nucleus. When we see around the nucleus, when we see the cell under the microscope, we can see the dot-like structure, that is the nucleus. But we can see that more organelles which is present in the cell. And next, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he described that and he saw a live cell. The next, when we then go to cellular organelles, the first cellular organelle is what? Plasma membrane. It is the outer layer. It consists of 3 distinct layers. 1 layer is formed by protein, 2 layers is formed by fat. The next cellular organelle is nucleus. We can call it as brain of cell. The example of the nucleus is principal of the school. The principals control the schools and the nucleus also controls the cell. Nucleus contains a round nucleolus and it contains own DNA and protein. We can call it as chromatin. The nuclear envelope is a nuclear outer layer and we can call it as brain of the cell. The next cellular organelle is endoplasmic reticulum. We can remember that 2 endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum means it contains ribosomes and it makes newly made proteins to the cell. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum means ribosome free and its function is poison detoxification. This rough endoplasmic reticulum produces the channels complex of network of transport channels. The next cellular organelle is Golgi Apparatus. Golgi Apparatus was described by Camillo Golgi. It is the first point. The Golgi Apparatus is a sac-like structure. It stores the food and it produces the food. The friends of the Golgi complex is ribosomes and endoplasmic reticulum. When we go to next cellular organelle, that is mitochondria. Mitochondria we can call it as powerhouse of the cell. Yes, the shape of the mitochondria is bacterium shape. The mitochondria having double membranes, cristae, inner membrane, outer membrane. Inner membrane consists of cristae. Cristae consists of fluid filled, that is matrix. It produces high energy compounds ATP. That's why we can call it as powerhouse of the cell. The next cellular organelle is the vacuole. The best example of vacuole is refrigerator. In refrigerator, we can store food, water and other things. That's why the vacuoles also stores that water. This vacuole found mostly in plants and protists. Remember that point, the example of the vacuole. Yes. Next, we will go to next cellular organelle is the chloroplast. Chloroplast contains double membrane, inner membrane, outer membrane. The center section contains grana. Grana contains thylakoid. If we take an example of thylakoid is 1 coin. The number of coins build the grana. The surrounding by grana, gel-like structure will be present. That is stroma. The function of chloroplast is photosynthesis. The sun energy becomes to the chemical energy. That's why we can use this chloroplast to photosynthesis. The chloroplast in green color, which is present in plants and algae. The next cellular organelle is lysosomes. Lysosomes, we can call it as suicidal bags. Why we can call it as suicidal bags? Yes, it stores the food materials. When it extends, it blasts into the cell and extracts the waste material into the cell. It contains single wall membrane and enzyme complex. It contains different enzymes. We can call it as recycling center of the cell. It is a membrane-bound organelle containing a variety of enzymes. The next cellular organelle is ribosomes. Ribosomes are small non-membrane. There are two subunits of ribosomes, 50S, 30S. Both of them we can call it as 70S ribosomes. These 70S ribosomes are free-floating, either endoplasmic reticulum. Next we can go to centrioles. Centriole as near, it will be present near the nucleus, right angle shaped. Another cellula is cilia and flagella. Cilia is totally present as surrounding by cell. Flagella only arises from the cell body. Lastly, I get a question for you. What is that means? Why we have to study or knowing of cell? The answer is knowing of cells. First we can know that all living organisms are composed of cells. Why we have to know about cells means the cancer will be spread, and when cancer will be spread, why we can consider that? Yes, the cells are produced and cells are spread to one place to another place. That's why we have to know that cells. Lastly, I thank to TSAT channel who has supported me. I thank to Secretary Sir for giving this super students opportunity. I thank my Jangam mate principal Nandamuri Padmini Garu. I thanks to my guidance teacher, mentor I Sumati Garu, and I thank my friends who have supported me. Lastly, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.